Hi, and welcome to the Tranquil Cottage Knits podcast. I'm your host, Michelle. You can find me on Ravelry as Tranquil Cottage, Instagram is Tranquil Cottage Knits. You can find the blog at www.tranquilcottageknits.weebly.com, and you can find the Facebook group on Facebook. Just search for Tranquil Cottage Knits. I'm easy to find. So this is episode number 36, and I am recording this on November 11th, 2020. So, if any of you caught the housekeeping first. So if any of you caught my last episode, I was pretty excited about my shawl release that we were going to do on November 5th at 10:30 a.m. Now, I look at this as a kind of like a group thing, kind of. I designed the pattern, but I designed the pattern with yarn from a local small business, Knitter's Magic, and Knitter's Magic was selling the yarn of a local and independent dyer, well, relatively local, she's in Pittsburgh. But basically, in my vision of this project coming together, it was a dyer being inspired to make a certain yarn in a certain colorway, and then shop being inspired to carry a independent dyer's yarn, and then me looking at that yarn and being inspired to create something really beautiful with it, and then being able to put the pattern out for other people to be inspired. So it's kind of going to be this cascade of, small independent businesses, helping small independent businesses and bringing that out to a larger audience. Now, I know that is probably kind of a little bit of a naive view, but in my heart, I have a good heart, and in my heart, that's kind of how it works. So, one of the people in our group kind of had a little personal thing that they had to take care of, and essentially what that meant was all of the pieces weren't aligning properly for us to get this done to the benefit of all involved. And I had 100% support to carry on, go ahead, release the pattern, just put it out there for public consumption, but I didn't feel right about it. I kind of feel like it was a team, it's kind of like a team thing, and I want it to be one of those mutually supporting things. So, having said that, we are delaying the release of the pattern for 2 weeks. Instead of being released November 5th, it will now be released November, I believe it's the 19th. Let me double check that date. Dun, da, da, da. Why is it every time I go to hit calendar, I hit calculator, and vice versa? It just, I don't know why, but I do that every single time. And this card. Yes. So that will be Thursday, November 19th at 10:30 a.m. on Knitter's Magic's live feed. And she's going to have some kits going together and things like that for the pattern, and you can get both the hat and the shawl pattern at that time. So, thank you so much for your support and being patient. I've had a few people ask me about the pattern's release and, kind of like, whoops, what happened? And just really, it's just all of us being in this together, small business owners to small business owners to small business owners to people who are creative, and, I want it to be something that is in support of all of that and all of the people out here who might eventually knit the pattern. So, just bear with us. We do have a new release date, the 19th, and I'm very excited for that. So, now that housekeeping is in order, I can't show you what I'm knitting on because it's another version of that pattern. So I'm looking at it. It's beautiful. I can show you a corner. It's like deep dark blue. It is the happiest thing. I have pumpkins on my nails and leaves. But yeah, it's very pretty, and I can't wait. But you guys will see all of it on the 19th. The next thing I wanted to talk about, as a designer, I should be thinking ahead in seasons. So, like right now, as the weather starts to get cold and dreary, I should be thinking about what people are going to be knitting in, late spring, early summer. Like, I should be working an entire season ahead. At least one season, usually 2 seasons ahead. The reason for this is it takes time to design a pattern, knit the pattern, proof the pattern, do the photography on your finished objects, send the pattern through tech editing. There's just a lot of work that goes into a pattern, which is kind of one of the reasons I don't mind paying for a pattern, because I do understand a lot of the work and the things that have gone on behind the scenes to actually create a well-written pattern. So having said that, though, I find it incredibly daunting to try to work so far in advance. Like right now, I have this idea in my head, and I was actually talking with Laura about it. I want like a chestnut brown, like a bourbon brown, so like a slightly orange, really rich, intense brown, paired with cream, and then a blue that is a little brighter than a navy. And I've got this idea in my head for these 3 colors and how they should work together. But though that would be fall. I mean, that color scheme just screams autumn to me. And so while that's what I want to work on now, if I let myself do that, like I'm making all the notes and sketching the designs and everything, but if I let myself delve into that and lose my head, then come Christmas, I'm not going to have anything like Christmassy themed, like that inspires people for that holiday. So as a designer, you're always kind of trying to think of ahead of your inspiration for what other people are going to be inspired by. And one of the ways to do that is by creating a mood board. And I'm really, 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 really trying to get better at that. I tend to have a hard time looking so far ahead, but I do have to tell you, one of the things that's getting me, and I'm gonna bring my magazine over here. One of the things that's getting me, my husband subscribes to a couple of different magazines for me, and they're always ones that just really kind of inspire me and just kind of make me happy. And so one of the, now I'm not going to be able to find the page. One of the ones that he does subscribe to for me is Real Simple. I very much like to put my hands on things. I don't want to, look at a picture, look at a picture online and get my inspiration from that. I have such a hard time doing that. For me, it's very, very much being just tactile. I want it in my hands. I want to touch it. I want to move around it. And so I have to say, there's this picture in here of these bookshelves, and I just find them so inspiring, and I really, really, really want them. So now I'm trying to think of how I could redo my living room to incorporate these bookshelves. And I don't for the life of me know how I'm going to get my husband on board. But it definitely is a plan. Poor guy. Because of course, I can't risk my gentle hands. They're knitter's hands. They can't woodwork, right? Here we go. So this is just so And they did it in a mini bar here, but look at this. Isn't that beautiful? So it's these white shelves with this really dark wallpaper behind it. And then it's got like these, I don't know if you can see these owls. And I am just loving this so much. So now I want to redo the living room and put up wallpaper with gilded owls. I don't know how that's going to go over, but that is one of the things lately that I've kind of been inspired by, and it's got me kind of thinking forward in my thought processes for what to knit for upcoming months. And I think January is, I think my theme for January is going to be metals. So I'm looking at golds and coppers, and I think that's where I'm going. The other thing that inspires me is scent. And a few years ago, I ran into Bath and Body Works for their soap. I like Bath and Body Works, but a lot of times when I walk in there, it just, their fragrance, I feel like I'm kind of being assaulted. Because you just walk in, it's like, whoa, you know. And but one day I'd walked in there to get hand soap. I do like their hand soap, especially their kitchen lemon for the kitchen. And this one fragrance caught my attention. And I have been in love with it ever since. It sells out every year. It's super hard to get. So this time, like November 1st, I'm like standing outside the Bath and Body Works window like, do you have it? Do you have it? Is it on the shelf yet? You know? And this is that phrase, or that scent. It is Winter by Bath and Body Works. And they say their inspiration for it, or the notes that you get, are white woods, pine needles, sparkling clementine, spiced clove with essential oils. And man, I can definitely smell the pine. I can smell, you can smell spices, but it's not overpowering. This smells like putting up fresh pine boughs. You know, when you hang the pine, all the pine garlands and things in your home at Christmas, it smells like fresh pine while you're baking snickerdoodles. It's the only way I can describe it. But as soon as I smelled this, I shifted my gears and started thinking Christmas knitting. So I'm really, really excited about that. So as soon as I have this release, the sun is going down here. As soon as I have this November pattern release going, I can start dropping a few hints about what our Christmas pattern is going to be for Tranquil Cottage Knits. The last thing I did want to mention, and it's maybe a little housekeeping, but not my housekeeping, is I've seen 3 posts recently from Knitter's Magic. And I have to show you guys this. First of all, because just, I love Knitter's Pride. I've always loved Knitter's Pride products. Their zings are my favorite needles. They just, I love them. I have the Melodies of Life needle set. Love them. With some needles, interchangeable needle sets, because I'm left-handed, so I guess my hand movements are a little different than other people's. I have a huge problem with like my knit picks unscrewing on me. I don't have that problem at all with the Melodies of Life, with the zing needles from Knitter's Pride. I don't think I've ever had a Knitter's Pride product that I didn't like. Their stitch markers are not necessarily my favorites. They're clip-on. They're a little thick for me. But oftentimes I'm working with very thin yarn. I like fingering weight yarn a lot. So just when I was into doing a lot of socks and stuff, those stitch markers seem a little bulky for me. But everything else I've ever had from them, I've absolutely adored. And so they have released, and I'll show you, here's Laura's picture of it, of her little inspiration photo. But they have released something called the Mindful Collection. And it is a, basically they're needles and other things in a collection that are all color coordinated, and it is with the intention of being mindful as you're knitting. If you pull up their website for the Mindful Collection, you get quotes such as mindful knitting, be mindful and create. The art of mindfulness in knitting. To be mindful is to be in the moment. A path to mindfulness. Knitting has the extraordinary potential to calm the mind. Dr. Alberto Costa. It's really beautiful. It's beautifully done. I find things like that to be very inspiring. I often need the reminder to just be in the moment. Because part of my anxiety disorder is that I always feel rushed for everything. I can still have 3 hours to do something, and I'm actively procrastinating, but inside I'm completely panicking that I'm not getting it done. I'm not getting it done. And that is, it's so hard to overcome because you're kind of like your body and your mind are working at odds to try to accomplish anything. But their inspiration photos for the Mindful Collection, I love them so much, and they just speak to my heart. And so they're basically, they have needles, I believe needles, blocking mats, a bunch of like different tools, the stitch markers, like all different kinds of things that are all color coordinated to go into this collection. So if you would like the inspiration, if it speaks to your heart, I just wanted to mention Knitter's Magic has them. And you can always get anything from Laura's shop by giving her a call at 540-550-4011. I'm sure when she does her yarn showcase on Thursday, she will probably showcase all of these new things. So if you want to see them in person, she's probably going to show all of these or give them a brief introduction when she does the yarn showcase. She usually does when she gets new things. She also, item number 2, posted that the Mad Tosh Advent kits are here. I'm so excited to have one this year. This is my very first year ever being able to get a Mad Tosh Advent calendar. And it comes with 12 unicorn tails, 6 core colors, 6 new festive holiday colors. So there's your 12 unicorn tails, 2 Tosh treats, 2 maker tools, and 2 exclusive patterns. So I'm super excited about that. Like I said, it's my first year. I love Advent calendars and find that I always make them for everybody else. Like I've got a little one last year, at the end of the year, I picked up a cute little Advent calendar that had these little drawers in there. And I'm going to do a really sweet Advent calendar for my husband this year. But, nobody ever does one for me. So I always end up with the crappy Palmer chocolate ones that, you know, the Zachary ones where you pop out the chocolate and you can't even tell what shape it was supposed to be in. Wah, wah, wah. So, I treated myself this year, and I got a Mad Tosh advent calendar. I'm super excited. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, which the last item for you if you're interested. 2 hours ago, Laura's the owner of Knitter's Magic, posted, need an idea for your best Vibra friend? We have shawl pins hot out of the box. And if I can get this one to pull up. She has some regular ones, but then can you guys see the fox? Oh my goodness, and there's a puppy. And it's, I think, a little lammy. Oh, and so it looks like a little Westie. And then she has like the round ones. I can't make them any bigger. Anyway, so you guys can see that she has those. And wow, my screen just went totally wonky. I think it has to do with the rain falling even harder. So, if any of those items interest you guys, please give her a call at 540-550-4011. Laura with Knitter's Magic. Shop is open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4. Other than that, you can always just leave her a message. If you're interested in my pattern, Off to the Orchard, Shawl and Hat will be released on the 19th. And I think that's about it. Have an absolutely wonderful day. I'm getting in out of the rain. I am under a porch thing, but I don't know. Stay dry, my friends, and knit on. Later.